What do The Matrix, Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Moana have in common? They all follow the hero's journey. I've analyzed these stories in detail, and in this video, I'm going to show you just how similarly and differently they use this classic framework to create compelling narratives. How closely do these stories align with each other? Do all 12 steps occur at the same points in the timeline of these films? As a writer, understanding how successful stories are structured can offer valuable insights for your own work. So let's dive in. Although similar concepts to the hero's journey existed before, it was Joseph Campbell who brought it to prominence with his 1949 book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. He described the journey as follows. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. Beautiful, isn't it? Campbell's work became a cornerstone for storytelling, particularly when Hollywood film producer Christopher Vogler condensed Campbell's ideas into an internal memo that later evolved into the writer's journey, mythic structure for writers. Published in 1992 and updated several times since, Vogler's book simplifies Campbell's 17 stages into 12 steps, offering a practical guide for writers. Now, let's break down each of these 12 steps, explore how they unfold for our 4 cinematic heroes, and map them out on a visual timeline of the films. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of how this framework is applied across different stories. The first step in the hero's journey is all about the hero's ordinary life before the adventure begins. This is where we get to know our protagonist in their regular, often mundane environment. Harry lives with the Dursleys, enduring a life he despises. We're introduced to this world right after the opening hook where he's left on their doorstep. In Star Wars, we meet Luke Skywalker in a similar fashion. He's a farm boy on Tatooine, dreaming of becoming a star pilot. However, unlike the other stories, Star Wars delays the introduction of Luke's ordinary world. After the initial hook, with Darth Vader boarding Leia's ship, George Lucas includes an extended sequence featuring C-3PO and R2-D2, characters who are sidekicks rather than the main hero, Luke. This is somewhat unconventional, but because the story is so iconic, we often overlook this unusual structure. In The Matrix, Neo lives a repetitive, unfulfilling life, sensing that something is fundamentally wrong with the world. Like the others, his ordinary world is preceded by an action-packed hook, this time featuring Trinity evading Agent Smith and his sunglass-wearing gang. Finally, in Moana, our heroine lives a happy life on the island of Motunui, though she's constantly drawn to the sea, which her people fear to explore beyond the reef. Fun fact, did you know that Moana is called Vaiana or Oceana in Europe? This change was possibly made because a lightly dressed, now deceased TV personality had the same name. The call to adventure is when the hero is faced with a challenge or quest that pulls them out of their ordinary world. In The Matrix, Neo receives several hints about his impending adventure, from mysterious messages in his apartment to his encounter with Trinity. However, the real call comes when Morpheus contacts him at his office about 10% into the film. This is the moment when Neo's journey truly begins. For Harry Potter, although he receives his first letter inviting him to Hogwarts around 6% into the film, his true call to adventure happens when Hagrid arrives to deliver the message in person at 10%. It's this visit that propels Harry into the world of magic. Moana's call to adventure is unique in that it comes at a very early age. As a baby, she is chosen by the sea, which gives her the heart of Te Fiti at just 5.7% into the film. This early calling sets the stage for her later journey. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker's call to adventure is more drawn out. Obi-Wan Kenobi explicitly invites him to join the adventure 29% into the film. However, the seeds are planted earlier when Luke sees the message from Leia at 16%, sparking his curiosity and setting him on the path toward his destiny. The refusal of the call is a moment when the hero hesitates or outright refuses the challenge ahead, often due to fear, doubt, or a sense of inadequacy. Moana is an interesting case because her desire to explore the sea is strong from the very beginning. However, even she faces doubt. Around 20% into the film, she makes an attempt to sail beyond the reef, but fails. This failure shakes her confidence, making her question whether she's truly capable of navigating the ocean. In Star Wars, after Obi-Wan invites Luke to join him on his mission to Alderaan, Luke's immediate reaction is hesitation. At 29.5% into the film, he insists that he can't get involved because of his responsibilities back home. Neo also faces a moment of doubt. At 12.5% into the film, he tries to follow Morpheus's instructions to evade the agents, but ultimately realizes he can't go through with it. Later, he even considers abandoning the mission by leaving in the car. Harry Potter's refusal comes in the form of disbelief. When Hagrid tells him he's a wizard and invites him to Hogwarts just 10.5% into the film, Harry responds with skepticism, insisting that he's just normal Harry.
I mean, I'm just Harry. Just Harry.
Every hero needs a mentor to provide guidance, wisdom, or sometimes just a firm push to get them moving on their journey. This crucial meeting often occurs alongside or shortly after the call to adventure and the refusal, though the timing can vary. In The Matrix, while Neo has spoken with Morpheus on the phone several times, it isn't until 19.5% into the film that they meet in person. This face-to-face encounter solidifies Morpheus as Neo's mentor, marking a pivotal moment in Neo's journey. For Harry Potter, the call to adventure, refusal, and meeting the mentor all happen in quick succession during the same scene. Since Harry hasn't yet read his invitation to Hogwarts, Hagrid's arrival serves as both the call and the mentor's introduction. In Moana, her relationship with her grandmother, who becomes her mentor, is already established early on. However, it's at around 9% into the film when her grandmother shares the story of Moana's father and shows her the hidden boats that she truly steps into the mentor role. As for everyone's favorite moisture farmer, he meets Ben Kenobi after the Sand People attack 24% into the film. It's in this moment that Obi assumes the role of mentor, guiding Luke toward his destiny. This is the moment when the hero steps fully into the new world, leaving the ordinary life behind. For Moana, this happens at 32% into the film when she makes a second, successful attempt to sail beyond the reef. By conquering this barrier, she leaves behind the safety of her island life and embarks on her journey across the open sea. Similarly, at nearly the same point in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker's ordinary world is irrevocably shattered when he discovers that his aunt and uncle have been killed. With nothing left to tie him to Tatooine, Luke is free to commit fully to the adventure ahead. Harry Potter crosses his first threshold at 12.6% into the film when he follows Hagrid into Diagon Alley. Here, Harry steps into the magical world, where he is treated with respect and awe. Quite the contrast to his miserable life with the Dursleys. In The Matrix, Neo's pivotal moment comes when he takes the red pill. This choice, which occurs between the events of Harry and Moana's thresholds on the timeline, marks his departure from the ordinary world and his entry into the truth of the Matrix, a reality he's never known before. Now, the real adventure begins. In this stage, our hero encounters a series of tests, forms new friendships, and have to face enemies in the unfamiliar world. This is where the stories start to diverge, with each hero's journey taking its unique path. In Harry Potter, this stage spans a significant portion of the story, which is why the early steps occur so quickly. Fantasy stories often involve extensive world building, and here we see that through Harry's experiences at Hogwarts. We are introduced to the other students, classes, teachers, and the relationships that form between them. This may take up a lot of time, but it's essential for character development and keeps the audience engaged. Harry forms bonds with his new friends, who become key allies on his journey. He faces various challenges, from dealing with trolls and three-headed dogs to mastering his magical training. Since the story's main antagonist is revealed in a climactic twist, Harry needs an early rival to create tension. Enter Draco Malfoy, who first tries to recruit Harry to his side at 28% into the film, but quickly becomes his enemy. Our hero in the black cloak undergoes a series of tests during his training aboard the Nebuchadnezzar, where he meets his new allies. He also encounters his future enemies, and we learn about Cypher, who will later betray them. A key moment in this phase is when Neo encounters the Oracle, a mysterious ally who plays a crucial role during the midpoint of the story. Luke Skywalker, shortly after beginning his journey, meets his future ally,
Han Solo.
Together, they face a variety of challenges, from dodging stormtroopers to navigating the dangers of a cantina filled with creepy aliens. However, Luke doesn't face his ultimate enemy, Darth Vader, until 75% into the film, keeping the tension high until the climax. For Moana, the challenges begin once she sets sail. She struggles to learn how to navigate the ocean and takes care of her not-so-helpful pet. Soon she encounters Maui, who eventually becomes her ally, though it takes some convincing. Along the way, Moana deals with aggressive coconut pirates and a vain giant crab before confronting her true opponent, Te Kā. If you're enjoying this breakdown of the hero's journey, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps keep the channel going so we can continue exploring the fascinating world of storytelling. This step isn't just about reaching the location of the final battle or climax. It's about the characters' internal and external preparations for the biggest challenge they'll face. It represents the build-up to the pivotal moment of the story. For Neo, this stage begins with his visit to the Oracle, which occurs midway through the film. This meeting sets him on the path to deciding to re-enter the Matrix to save Morpheus. I mark the point where Neo and Trinity actually enter the Matrix as the critical moment, though the entire process leading up to it is part of this step. After much back and forth, Moana and Maui finally reach Te Fiti 77% into the film, only to encounter their ultimate adversary, Te Kā. This marks the moment when they must face the greatest challenge of their journey. Luke Skywalker, although somewhat passive in his journey to the Death Star, still undergoes training and prepares in various ways along the way. It's worth noting that Luke arrives at the Death Star, the story's equivalent of the Inmost cave, earlier than the other heroes reach their pivotal locations. There's some debate about whether the later confrontations and action sequences in the story might also fit this step. However, considering the overall structure of the narrative, Luke's arrival at the Death Star is the most appropriate moment to mark as the approach to the Inmost cave. For Harry Potter, the approach comes after he and his friends have uncovered what they need to do to protect the Philosopher's Stone. They enter the cave, metaphorically speaking, at 79% into the film when they decide to go back through the trapdoor guarded by Fluffy. By this point, our heroes are mentally prepared and have a clear sense of what they need to do, even though things rarely go as planned. The ordeal typically isn't the final climactic battle, but a significant challenge that precedes it. For Moana, the ordeal occurs when she and Maui confront Te Kā. Maui tries to restore the heart, but his attempt fails. This failure leads Maui to flee, and Moana, feeling defeated, returns the heart to the sea. In Harry Potter, Harry, Ron, and Hermione face a series of dangerous challenges as they try to reach the Philosopher's Stone. These trials lead directly to the final confrontation with Quirrell and the Dark Wizard, whose name must not be spoken. Neo and Trinity enter the Matrix to rescue Morpheus, despite numerous warnings throughout the story about the dangers of confronting the agents. This decision triggers a long sequence of intense confrontations and action. For Luke Skywalker, the ordeal encompasses all the events on the Death Star. He faces life-threatening situations multiple times, such as in the prison corridor, the garbage compactor, and during the escape back to the Millennium Falcon. This is why Luke's ordeal begins earlier than those of the other heroes. Unlike other stories where the ordeal and the following step are closely linked, Luke's journey includes a return to Yavin 4 with several steps before the final Death Star attack. Some might argue that the Death Star attack itself is Luke's ordeal, but this interpretation would place the reward before the ordeal, which typically isn't how the structure works. Having faced and survived their ordeal, the heroes now claim their reward, a moment of triumph that often brings them closer to their ultimate goal. For Harry Potter, the reward comes when he miraculously finds the Philosopher's Stone in his pocket. While it might seem like a deus ex machina, this moment ties into the deeper theme of love, which we'll explore further later on. Luke's reward is twofold. He successfully rescues Leia and secures the technical plans for the Death Star. Let's place it on the timeline at the point when they escape the bowling ball. In The Matrix, Neo's reward is the successful rescue of Morpheus, a crucial victory that solidifies Neo's role as the hero. For Moana, her reward comes after a moment of clarity and self-realization when she speaks with her grandmother. She finally understands who she truly is and, with renewed determination, dives into the ocean to retrieve the heart of Te Fiti. The ordeal is over and the reward has been claimed, but the journey isn't finished yet. The road back is not just about heading home. It's about the realization that returning to the ordinary world will be more challenging than expected. This step often sets the stage for the story's climax, a final test that must be overcome. For Moana, the road back begins when she decides to return the heart to Te Fiti on her own, without Maui's help. This decision marks her final commitment to her quest, highlighting the challenge she's facing. In Harry Potter, the road back occurs when he realizes the full extent of Voldemort's plan. He understands that to prevent the Dark Lord from returning to physical form, he must defeat Quirrell, a task that tests Harry's courage and resolve. Even though Morpheus has been saved, Neo's journey is far from over. He still needs to escape the Matrix, but Agent Smith intercepts him, determined to stop him at all costs. This confrontation pushes Neo to his limits. For Luke Skywalker, the road back begins after the TIE Fighter attack on the Millennium Falcon. Luke and the others return to Yavin 4 to prepare for the final assault on the Death Star. This includes the conversation with Han, who has decided not to join the attack, and reconnecting with his old pilot friends, setting the stage for the final battle. Given the name of this step, it's easy to think it refers to the aftermath of the story's climax. However, Resurrection is about the hero's final internal test, a moment where they must apply everything they've learned to achieve victory. What's fascinating is that despite their growth and newfound strength, all four heroes are ultimately saved by someone else, highlighting the importance of friendship and love. Luke has made a phone call to Obi-Wan for guidance and finds the motivation he needs to complete his mission. But just as Darth Vader is about to take him out, Han Solo swoops in unexpectedly and saves the day. It's their friendship that leads to this crucial victory. In the midst of Moana's confrontation with Taka, Maui also arrives just in time to help, flying in from above to turn the tide of the battle. Here again, the bond of friendship proves essential. Harry Potter doesn't fully understand why the Philosopher's Stone appears in his pocket or how he can defeat Professor Quirrell just by touching him. Later, Dumbledore explains that something Harry's mother imbued in him that protects him and ensures his victory. In The Matrix, Neo is shot by Agent Smith, seemingly defeated. But Trinity's love for him, which has been foreshadowed throughout the story, miraculously brings him back to life, enabling him to overcome the final challenge. In the end, all of our heroes are saved by friendship and love, proving that these connections are just as crucial as their personal growth and courage. The Elixir represents what the heroes bring back from their journeys, something that benefits their ordinary world. This final step shows how the heroes have been transformed by their experiences and how they now have something valuable to offer. Harry Potter returns to the ordinary world having saved it from Voldemort. His victory is acknowledged in the Great Hall where Dumbledore pays tribute to him, signifying Harry's his place of honor in the magical world. Luke has defeated Vader, destroyed the Death Star, and is celebrated with a medal in the throne room, although poor Chewbacca doesn't receive any medal. Humph. Neo has fully embraced his role as the One. In his final act, he addresses the viewers, both human and machine, over the phone before flying off into the sunset, symbolizing his new godlike abilities and purpose. Moana returns to her island after saving it, and Maui has regained his hook. Moana is now a true sailor, and she brings back the knowledge and courage to lead her people beyond the reef, fulfilling her journey and transforming her community. There are countless other well-known stories built around the hero's journey, such as Lord of the Rings, The Lion King, The Wizard of Oz, and The Hunger Games. What do you think? Do these stories feel too similar, or do their unique settings and characters make them stand out? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Interpreting and analyzing great stories is a passion of mine, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd recommend checking out this next video for more insights. Or perhaps you'd like to explore this one. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep writing.